What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. MTG here with another episode. If you're new to the channel, hi there. Today I have right here the M1 iPad Pro. This is the 11-inch, and I want to kind of talk about why I bought this, but more so the reason is being the M1 chip and why the M1 chip made me buy this iPad Pro 11-inch. So without further delay, let's dive right in. Okay, so before I start things off, my first actual iPad that I own is the iPad mini. And I absolutely love the iPad mini, but I also like iPads in general. But there's a reason why I went with picking up the M1. Specifically the M1. I could have went for last year's 2020's A12Z Bionic chip with the 11-inch iPad Pro, or even the 2018 A12X Bionic chip with the 11-inch iPad Pro, but I decided to go with M1. And here is why. I'm going to start off with the performance and the power. We know that the M1 first debuted late 2020 with the MacBook Pro, the 13-inch MacBook Pro, and the MacBook Air. And we've since seen it on the new redesigned iMac, as well as the iPad Pros. This is something we were not expecting. They put in literally a computer chip, Apple's inbuilt computer silicon, into a tablet. This is a beast of a device. And many people say they can't even use like 50% of the power found in their M1 iPad Pros. And that's completely true. That is completely true. For even just daily tasks, going on Safari, watching something like Disney Plus or YouTube videos, sending emails, just using it for social media. That's not even using probably 2-3% of it. You can do that really on your device, on your iPhone or your Android device. You can do it on iPad mini, the redesigned iPad mini. You can do it on all of those. But why is performance and power such a huge thing for me? Well, it's because I really want to go much more portable. One day I want to, use the iPad Pro as my main device. And the only reason that's kind of holding me to using this 100% is the fact that I edit my videos through Final Cut Pro on my MacBook Pro, and this doesn't have Final Cut Pro. Albeit there are apps like LumaFusion. I do have LumaFusion. I do edit some videos, but they're not really videos used for this channel. I use it for my secondary channel. I will leave that link in the description down below. And if there was some sort of Final Cut Pro that came onto this in the future, who knows, then I would 100% switch to this, and it would be able to take everything I throw at it with just ease. I mean, I'm not really too much of a benchmarks guy. I don't care about the benchmarks, although I've seen videos and information on benchmarks, and M1 iPad Pros do perform really well. But literally everything that I can throw at it right now, from editing videos on LumaFusion for my secondary channel, going on Lightroom and creating from there, editing photos for thumbnails and whatnot. Oh, it just threw me out. Okay. Anyway, I can do everything on this 11-inch iPad Pro. Okay, the second reason why I bought the M1 is mainly because of iPadOS. iPadOS, well, we would have wanted a macOS hybrid version to have something on like the iPad Pro. We don't. We have iPadOS, but it's been getting better with every single generation. iPadOS is much better. We finally have widgets here that we can use on the home screen. We've had these for a while. Like Safari is now it's desktop mode. We have the Files app, which comes in really handy when you're directly downloading from the Safari or whatnot. And it's just been a breeze. Now, I typically use my iPad, whether it's my iPad mini or my iPad Pro, in landscape. I don't really use it how it was originally intended to when the iPad first came out. I typically use it now horizontally, which has become so much more better. But everything we're getting now, this is the 512 gigs, so it does come with 8 gigs of RAM. But everything that I throw at it, like Lightroom, watching a bunch of videos on YouTube, just because I stay up to date with with the people I'm subscribed to, and I watch their videos as well. I'm watching a bunch of movies on Disney Plus. They got some really good TV shows right now. They have Hawkeye, so I'm keeping up to date with those shows and films. And I'm just using this really as my main media consumption device. In fact, I have fully transitioned to really using this device for almost everything except Final Cut Pro. And thankfully, iPadOS has not really made me miss my MacBook Pro. I feel very, how can I say, very almost at home, very comfortable using the iPad Pro 11-inch, much more compact than the 12.9-inch, and iPadOS has really just been able to, help me out a lot. I just use that feature literally just for video purposes. If I'm going to jot down a note, I can do that too. And this is for a video. There you go. I have yet to pick up the Magic Keyboard. But that's really it. iPadOS, hopefully with years to come, it'll continue to mature, and we might get a macOS hybrid version. Imagine macOS on something like this, a portable iPad. That would be clutch. I think that would be a thing that wouldn't happen, mainly because I don't think they're going to take iPad sales and use that to eat up MacBook Pro sales or just MacBook sales in general. So we might not see something like that, because if that were the case, I think a lot of people would go this route, because this is just more portable than something like a MacBook or a MacBook Pro. Okay, and another reason why I picked up the M1 iPad Pro 11-inch is because it's longevity. We have the 2018 iPad Pro, and we have the 2020 iPad Pro, and those still perform like a beast. Like the 2018, 4 years later, it performs like a champ, as well as a 2020 iPad Pro, but it's in this name, 2018 and 2020. I mean, heading into 2022, that 4-year-old iPad Pro, we might get 1 or 2 more years of software updates, and then that's it. So it's still going to perform like a beast, but we're just not going to be seeing any more software updates after that. But with this M1 chip, we should be seeing about 5, even to 6 years of software updates. And that's what I love about Apple products. They're really good with their software updates, and they support them for a super, super long time, like 6 years. That's more than half a decade of software updates. That is really reliable, and that's probably why I went and picked up this, because it's obviously the newest, but it's going to have the longest software updates. Now, would I go ahead and pick up, the next year's iPad if for my own personal needs? And obviously no, but for review purposes, that's a different story. But this would be able to take me for 5, 6, even 7 years. But software updates and longevity, using this device, there shouldn't be any issue whatsoever. In my time of using this, I haven't had this for too long. Battery has been a blast. It's been lasting me all day. Granted, if I'm using it more so for video editing and using it for my thumbnails for Lightroom, as well as watching consistent videos on YouTube, then I am, getting shorter periods of the day. Like I'm going to have to end up charging it by 6, 7 p.m. But on a normal day-to-day use, I am able to get through with about 50 to 60% throughout the entire day. So that's a huge plus. So if you're out there looking for an iPad that's going to last you a really long time, my personal choice would be the M1 iPad Pro. Okay, now another reason, and this reason probably applies to a lot of people when they're picking up devices or when they're picking up new phones, tablets, computers, whatever it may be, that is price. M1 iPad Pro, I'm going to put it out there. It is not a cheap device. It's not a cheap tablet by any means. But for me, it was a little bit easier on my end when I saw that Amazon was offering this. And I do have Amazon Prime, by the way, for those of you who may be interested in something like this in the future. This was $10.99. This is a 512 gigs, so 8 gigs of RAM. And this came for a total of $10.99. But with having that Amazon Prime, and I've been a Amazon Prime customer since about 2014, 2015, they gave me the option to break it down to 5 monthly payments, about $200 to $250 a month, give or take. So that was really easy on me. Rather than you going ahead and paying $10.99 up front, I was able to pay $250 and go ahead and pay that way. that was an easy option for me. I didn't want to, apply for another card and break it down into monthly payments and do it that way. This is for 5 months, no interest, nothing of that sort. And you may come across this if you're an Amazon Prime customer. It'll break down payments. Like you can pick up a Magic Keyboard for however many dollars, or for 3 monthly payments. You can even find coffee machines and pay for 3 monthly payments. And they have tablets and computers quite often with that monthly payment deal. And that was probably a factor of me picking up this device, because I know long term I am able to pay for that $200, $250, whatever it is a month, and also make more on top of that, rather than putting in all of it at once. And that will give me more time to invest into what I pay for. So if I'm paying $250 a month, initially this price is $10.99. That $250 a month, I'll have back $800, $750, and I can use that and invest into something else that is needed for the channel. I can use this and kind of make my money back as a reviewer, and then use that also to invest into something else, or maybe just even pay this off. So for me, price was a huge factor, and maybe if it was on sale, it was on sale before I picked this up. After I picked this up, I missed that opportunity. And I just checked Amazon recently and they kind of got rid of that. So it's like sometimes it comes and goes. So sometimes you'll see that 5-month monthly offer. Sometimes you won't see it. Right now, I've been checking Amazon. I haven't come across it. But if you do, definitely I'd say, consider it. And if you're looking for an iPad, now that would be a great option to do so. And that's really it. The 11-inch M1 iPad Pro is a powerful device, and honestly, this is more powerful than my MacBook Pro. My MacBook Pro, I believe, is like the 2017 i5 with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. That is I don't even know what generation that Intel chip is, but it really can't even, when I use Final Cut Pro, it can't take 1080p videos. I'm just exporting a video with like 3 gigs of memory, like 3 gigs of storage. It just heats up and the fan kicks in. But with this M1 iPad Pro, I know that when I go into video editing, there's nothing wrong that goes on with this iPad Pro. Whatever it is, whether it's photo editing, video editing, watching my content, writing video scripts, writing articles and publishing them on Medium, which I have been heavily into these past couple weeks and months. This takes everything, I throw at it with just a breeze. It's just been buttery smooth. It's been awesome. And for anyone who's looking for a powerful tablet to potentially use as their main device, or as like their secondary main device, they need that power, then maybe this M1 iPad Pro is the device to go with. Granted, we're gonna obviously see things like, M2 iPad Pro is gonna come out, M3 iPad Pro is gonna come out 2 years down the line. Guys, the truth is we're always going to be getting newer and better products each year. So it's best to focus on, what we have right now. Obviously, you'll see videos, even coming from me, like, should you buy this, or why you should wait for the next M2. Yes, there are reasons why you should wait for it. But it shouldn't ultimately push you back, because we're at that time that it's near its release. Like if this just came out back in May and I was making this video, I wouldn't say, let's wait next year. Like we have a whole year. But now we're a couple months down the line. We are much closer than we were back in May. So now I would say, maybe you might want to reconsider if you don't have an iPad Pro, and if you can wait a couple more months and blah, 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 whatever. So bottom line is, powerful tablet. It's a beast. You can potentially switch and use this as I know I have a bunch of friends of mine who are in college right now, and this is their main device. M1 iPad Pro is their main device. They have completely put aside their MacBook Pros. They've completely put aside whatever their Microsoft Surface or their gaming laptops, and they just strictly use the M1 iPad Pro, whether it be 11-inch or 12.9-inch for school, because everything they can do on it, it runs super smoothly. Whether it be Microsoft Excel or PowerPoint, everything just runs with a breeze. So guys, powerful tablet, M1 is the way to go. I think it's future-proof for the next 5, 6, maybe even 7 years. But that's really been it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy this little kind of reasons why I bought this M1 iPad Pro. If you did, be sure to superman that like button, comment down below, and best of all, share this video because it really does help out the channel and will help push my content out to more people. Anyway, that's been it for me, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Anyway, everybody, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to superman that like button, comment down below, because with the more interactions we get on this video, not only helps the video and the channel, but also pushes the video out to more viewers. And best of all, superman that subscribe button. Until next time, everybody, and until next video, this is MTG.